In the early hours of April 15, 1912, a ship believed to be unsinkable met its tragic end. This ship was none other than the majestic Titanic, a marvel of engineering and a symbol of luxury and grandeur. Towering above the water, the Titanic was a sight to behold. It was a city on water, an embodiment of human ambition and technological prowess. As the Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage, excitement filled the air. The ship was packed with more than 2,000 souls, each eagerly looking forward to the journey ahead. Among them were some of the most prominent figures of the day, the elite of society, all drawn by the allure of the largest moving object ever made by man. However, as grand and awe-inspiring as the Titanic was, it was sailing into perilous territory. As the Titanic sailed through the icy waters of the North Atlantic, an unforeseen disaster was lurking beneath the surface. The night was calm, the sea was smooth, but the freezing menace was invisible in the darkness. Unbeknownst to the passengers aboard the Titanic, their journey was about to take a tragic turn. Despite receiving multiple iceberg warnings from other ships, these cautionary messages were largely dismissed by the Titanic's radio operators, who were preoccupied with transmitting passenger messages. As the behemoth continued its steady course through the icy waters, the lookouts spotted an iceberg directly in their path. They rang the warning bell and relayed the message to the bridge. But alas, it was too late. Despite the frantic efforts of the crew to steer the ship clear of the looming danger, the Titanic was moving too fast to avoid a collision. The iceberg grazed the side of the ship, puncturing the hull and allowing the freezing seawater to flood into the lower compartments. The unthinkable had happened. In a matter of seconds, the ship's fate was sealed. Despite the desperate efforts, the unsinkable began to sink. The iceberg had dealt a fatal blow, piercing the Titanic's hull and flooding her compartments. The ship's design, once hailed as a marvel of engineering, proved to be her Achilles' heel. The watertight compartments intended to keep her afloat were not sealed at the top, allowing water to spill from one to the next. And then there was the lifeboat problem. The Titanic had only 20 lifeboats, not nearly enough for the over 2,000 passengers and crew. As the ship tilted and the reality of the situation set in, panic spread. Desperate attempts to launch the lifeboats ensued, but in the chaos, many were launched half-empty. The scene was one of raw human emotion, fear, desperation, and disbelief. The unsinkable was sinking, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. In less than 3 hours, the Titanic was lost to the depths, taking with her over 1,500 souls. The Titanic wasn't just a ship, it was a symbol of human pride and ambition that met a tragic end. The Titanic's demise was not a result of a single failure, but rather a series of unfortunate events and oversights that together spelled disaster. At the forefront of these was the infamous iceberg collision. The night was clear, but the moonless, dark and calm sea made spotting icebergs difficult. Despite the Titanic's advanced technology, the iceberg was seen too late, and the ship's inability to turn quickly enough led to a fatal collision. But the iceberg was only the catalyst. The Titanic's design played a significant role in its downfall. The ship's hull, although state-of-the-art for its time, was not as strong as it needed to be. When the iceberg scraped the hull, the steel plates buckled, allowing water to flood into the ship. Moreover, the Titanic's supposedly watertight compartments were not fully sealed at the top. As each compartment filled, water spilled over into the next, causing the ship to list and eventually sink. This was a design flaw that, had it been addressed, may have bought the ship more time. Then there was the inadequate number of lifeboats. Titanic was equipped with only 20 lifeboats, enough for barely half of the passengers. The belief that the ship was unsinkable led to complacency in safety measures. The shortage of lifeboats resulted in unnecessary loss of life when the ship started to sink. Finally, the ignored iceberg warnings. Multiple ships had relayed warnings of ice in the Titanic's path, but these messages were not given the urgency they warranted. Overconfidence in the ship's capabilities led to a dismissal of these warnings. In essence, the sinking of the Titanic was a result of human error, overconfidence in technology, and a lack of respect for the power of nature. It was a tragedy that could have been avoided had these factors been addressed. The sinking of the Titanic is a stark reminder of nature's power and the consequences of human arrogance.